we can run the table. I really do.
Giants looking for a stop. They're going to air it out. Rodgers does this better than anybody. End zone, Cobb, touchdown! Unbelievable! This to send the Packers into the NFC Championship game. It is good! The Packers are moving on. Aaron Rodgers has done it again.
Grassy Posse Packer Nation, welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Grassi, and boy, oh boy, these days, like, I thought I was going to be taking it easy. I was like, all right, I get to relax a little bit, but nay, the Packers just keep on making moves, and damn, this is already the most action-filled offseason that I can remember for quite some time. So, a couple things. Let's get the small stuff out of the way first, but small but good stuff. Davante Adams has been cleared from his concussion protocol, which is phenomenal. There seems to be no lingering side effects, even though he's suffered numerous concussions over the past 2 seasons. So that is very good. He's going to be our number one receiver moving forward. So I'm very happy to report that. Now, the big news that came out today is a couple of things. One, Mike McCarthy was given a 1-year extension through the 2019 season. Now, the reason why this is so important is not because they have super duper faith in Mike McCarthy, but this extension was given to him in the midway point of this season. It was just released now. Mark Murphy just came to the podium and released it today. And the reason I want to dwell on that and focus on that is because I'm curious, if he had not gotten an extension and we're bringing in a new GM and we're making all of these moves, would Mike McCarthy have still gotten that extension had they known what this season would have turned into? And so the reason I bring that up is because Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy are BFFs. They're biffles, absolutely. Joined at the hip. If Ted Thompson was still the general manager, Mike McCarthy's not going anywhere. He never would be. And so I think that this is a pretty big deal. I don't think, like I said in previous videos, I don't think Mike McCarthy's going anywhere at the end of the year. I would be shocked and blown away if he was. Even Mark Murphy came out today and said, Mike is our man, he is our coach. So I don't think that they're going to be shaking too many things up. However, I think that next year is going to be a very, very make or break season for McCarthy. And there is a very real potential that if there is another disappointing season next year, that Mike McCarthy might not be the head coach of the Green Bay Packers after next season. So I'm not too confident in Mike's job. Again, I am for, a lot of you disagree with me. I am very much for keeping Mike McCarthy, especially now that all these things are being shaken up. I don't think he's a bad coach. He has made some problematic decisions. He has benefited from having one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but at the same time, he's not the worst coach in the league in any way, shape, or form, and I think that he is very able to get us to another championship. So that's that. Also, a couple of other things. There's apparently Rob Dombrowski's also reporting that the Packers may be considering a new offensive coordinator, so there might be changes not only on the defensive side, because we fired 2 defensive coaches and, of course, Dom Capers the other day, but also some offensive changes as well, also at wide receivers coach. Also, Ted Thompson, his role came out today of what he's going to be. He's going to transition to the senior advisor to football operations, not of football operations. He spent 13 seasons as a GM, obviously, and I think that this is a great fit for him. I think anybody who is a fan of the Packers or been following the Packers can admit and admire the fact that that guy can find late talent, especially in the later rounds. You look at David Bakhtiari, for example. He brings in the free agents when they're good. His first draft picks were like Aaron Rodgers. You got Nick Collins in there, so he's good. I'm okay with that role. Now, something came up that was pretty interesting, and I'm going to read the quotes from Mark Murphy and Ted Thompson in a moment. But Bob McGinn, who's a longtime Packers reporter, came out with an article today and saying that the 45-member board of directors told Mark Murphy to remove Ted Thompson because of his health and his focus. And so saying that based off of his public image and recent interactions, they didn't think that he was focused enough and kind of leaned toward his health. Now, that was a very interesting article when I read it, and I wasn't really expecting that. I'm going to come right out and say I hope Ted Thompson's okay. I mean, considering he's still going to be within the organization, he can still do his job. Mark Murphy came out and flat out refuted that report, though, and said that it was a joint decision between the board of directors, himself, and Ted Thompson, that Ted Thompson was a scout at heart, and he just wanted to go back to those duties, and this was what was best for everybody. And so, that being said, I don't know if it's health reasons. I don't know if this is kind of just this is what you should say kind of thing. But here was the quote that came out from Mark Murphy today, the president. He said, "I wanted to thank Ted for his tireless efforts as the general manager of the Green Bay Packers for these past 13 seasons. Under his guidance, the Packers enjoyed a remarkable run of success, one that included our 13th world champion, 4 NFC championship appearances, and 8 consecutive postseason berths. The organization, our fans, and our community were fortunate enough to have one of the NFL's all-time great general managers leading our football operations. On a personal note, Ted's work ethic, humility, and loyalty are nearly unparalleled, and it has been one of the great honors of my life to work beside him. Fortunately, Ted will remain involved in our personnel department as we work to win another championship. We will begin an immediate search for the next general manager of the Green Bay Packers." On that note as well, Mark Murphy did not give a timeline, but he said that they were going to be very deliberate. They were going to move very quickly, but they were going to get the right person. They just hired another firm, so they are going to be looking outside as well as internally. I came out with that video yesterday. I would love for Elliott Wolf, the guy's 35. I would love for him to be the new general manager. Also, in other news that you may or may not know, Alonzo Highsmith, this was like 15 minutes ago. He's a senior personnel exec for the Packers. He's been there for years. He's probably going to be joining the Browns. So he's going to be going and working with them. So, I mean, a lot of stuff is shifting in the office of the Packers. I don't think Mike McCarthy's going anywhere yet. But again, the fact that he got an extension midway through this season, I think that's important. I think that's very telling. And so we'll see where this goes. I think next year is going to be a very interesting season, and seeing what McCarthy does, what they do with a new defensive coordinator, what they do with a new GM. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Like, this could all backfire, and we could have a completely new staff next year again and have a completely new head coach. But I'm very curious to see what you think about this. I know a lot of you want Mike McCarthy to go, but I think just too much shaken up. He has a relationship with Rodgers. Clinton Dix actually was questioning the whole, selection, the draft and develop method today. So those who want free agents, you might get it with a new GM. Ted is gone. So this is going to be a crazy roller coaster of an offseason, folks, and it's one that I'm very, very excited to be a part of. But let me know what you think about Mike McCarthy. Interesting stuff developing with that. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com, TomGrossi Comedy, or Tom Grossi Comedy on Twitter. Check out Packcast, Packast. We're on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, and, of course, YouTube. We do multiple episodes per week during the regular season. We interview fans from the opposing teams. The last one we did was last week with the Lions fan. Check that out. It's on this channel and on all the mediums I already said. Man, hopefully I get a break. Tomorrow, actually, I'll be releasing another video. We'll do the wild card predictions tomorrow, and we'll also be breaking down later this week the 2018 schedule for the Packers, which is way too early to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi, and as always, go Pack Go.